What is up, guys? Do anything guy here. Today I just wanted to make a quick video. Well, actually not really quick, just a normal video basically. Of me explaining how to drift on the Thrustmaster T150. Or at least how I do it. With some good tips. Now we are going to start off with the very basics, the settings. Now, first of all, if you haven't checked my video yet, there is a Thrustmaster wheel bearing mod that I did. You can look up that on YouTube. It basically makes the wheel smoother and spin a little faster. Now, I typically drift on 900 degrees for AssettoCorsa, and make sure you do that. Now, overall strength, always put that at 100. I put constant and periodic both at 100, but spring and damper always have at 0. I turn on boost, and what you're going to do here is you're going to turn on by the wheel. You're going to adjust this to 0%, and you're going to click by the game. That just makes it so the wheel spins smoothly while you're just in the menu. Kind of a nice thing. Okay guys, now we're going to go into the AssettoCorsa settings. Now starting off with my wheel, guys, we need to go to AssettoCorsa, then you're going to want to go to controls, and you're going to want to go to force feedback. We're going to start with the force feedback settings. We're going to start with gain at 100, input method wheel, everything over here at 0, soft lock on, enhanced understeer effect off, and post-processing, center boost gain 0, center boost range 10, enable force feedback processing. Now we're going to put this on a LUT. Now you're going to go to Google and you're going to type in LUT generator, and you can watch a video how to use it. But you're basically going to create a custom LUT to make your wheel feel a lot more realistic to the custom curve of your motor. Now, turn on lower speed feedback reduction right here, and then unlock experimental options and gyroscopic effect on, and then turn off all the damping effects. Now, axis, these are my settings for axis. You can just look at them. Now, those are the things I use for my T150. We're at the track, and I'm going to be showing you guys basically the skills. So, as you can see, I have my pedal cams here. This is gas, clutch, and brake. And I have the e-brake, which doesn't actually show up, but I do have one, as you can see. So we're going to start by learning your entries. Now, I could film this in any, form. We'll do some first person. So first, once you do want to come into this video already knowing how to drive the manual and stuff. So to get into drifting, we're going to start with a power over entry. So basically, just throttle over, and you will enter the drift. So basically, this entry just uses throttle only, and you roll over into that drift. Alright, that's your first entry style right there, the power over. Okay, moving on to our next entry. This entry is the clutch kick. So you're moving, you have the gas almost pinned, and then you kick the clutch for a second while holding the gas down, and you'll enter. Watch. It's called a clutch kick because you literally kiss and watch. You kick that clutch, and it basically quickly engages and disengages and engages the gearbox, allowing you to enter that drift. Now we're going to talk about the next type. This is the e-brake drift. Now, some people don't like it, but honestly I think it's a cool way to enter the drift. And it's also one of the easiest. So all you gotta do for the e-brake drift is get some speed built up, hold the e-brake down, obviously holding the clutch while you do that so you don't stall the car, and you can kind of flick the car a little bit. You kind of just flick the car a little bit and then hold the e-brake. So you just kind of hold it like that. Okay, now the next thing I want to teach you guys is throttle control, as throttle control is one of the most important parts of drifting. Now, throttle control is basically going to be based on you knowing how to control your throttle properly. Now, what you're going to do here is try not to rev out your gears completely, okay? So, when I'm in a gear, whenever I'm drifting, don't just have it pinned the whole time on the end of that gear. Notice how I'm not over RPMing. I'm giving it just enough RPM to stay into the drift without losing the drift. Give it just enough RPM to stay into that drift, and once you get close to that red line, you're gonna want to change to the next gear. Now the reason why this is important, as you see, I'm giving low throttle, but when I need it, I can. So the reason why we do this is because we want to make sure we have some leeway on our throttle. So if we have it constantly pinned and you need to go a little faster for a certain part, you're not going to be able to because you already have the throttle pinned. So if you stay at a lower throttle, when you need that extra throttle, you'll be able to provide it from the wheel or from the pedals. So yeah, that's my tip. Just try to keep the throttle levels not too high. Now this is a lower power car, so it's hard to demonstrate certain things that you may find in higher power cars. But that is one thing. So throttle control is very important. The next important thing, which is really important for people on cheaper budget wheels like mine. Even though I have the bearing mod, my wheel still doesn't spin that fast. And if I just try to enter a drift normally, it might, okay, in that time it doesn't. But if I'm doing like transitions like this, and I try to let it do it on its own, it cannot transition on its own. It doesn't spin fast enough. So what we gotta do to counter that is either on each transition, you're gonna want to flick your wheel a little bit. So watch, as I go on this transition, I'm gonna flick it myself. Apply that extra flick myself. Apply that extra bit of flick yourself. And that way it won't spin out. But another thing you can do is on the transition, you're gonna hold the clutch. So if you're about to spin out, hold the clutch. Hold the clutch. Hold the clutch, and see, it can save you from a spin out. So if you think you're in a bad situation, you're gonna spin out like this, hold the clutch in, and it can straighten your car out. So your clutch is like one of your safe barriers. Be comfortable with that clutch. You're gonna want to use it to, like here, hold the clutch. See, it can help save you from spinning out. So you can use that clutch. Now the next thing is knowing when to let go of the wheel. A lot of people sim racing actually hold the wheel for too long, and this does cause it to not be able to counter steer in time. Now on most budget wheels, you are probably gonna have to help the wheel for most turns like that, give it a little whip, or as you see, as I just did in that one, use the clutch between transitions like that. Hold the clutch for a second and it will help you slow down the rotation of the car. So yeah, you'll be able to let go of the wheel for most of it, but with these budget wheels, you need to keep in mind that you might need to let go of the wheel or use the clutch to slow down the rotation of the car. Now we're going to talk about e-braking. Now, you don't want to overuse the e-brake, but it can be useful in certain scenarios. But I tend to be more of an e-brake overuser, admittedly, as it can actually be useful for helping you control the car, especially if you're more of a beginner like me. See right there, I use the clutch to help me not spin out. These are good examples. So what we're gonna do with the e-brake is, besides doing them e-brake entries, we want to use it to hold our angle. So if we're doing a drift and you want to extend it, hold that e-brake and you can extend the drift. Now another way you can extend the drift, although it's a little frowned upon, is actually holding the brake. If you have your brakes tuned pretty well, here, let me do a good demonstration. We're gonna come in fast, initiate a drift, and use that brake. If this car was tuned a little more evenly on the brakes, you can sometimes use the brakes to extend your drift while keeping the angle. But once you have an e-brake, you're gonna want to do that with the e-brake. So say you come into the drift a little early, you can actually use that e-brake, using the clutch there to slow me down. You can use that e-brake to extend your drift. Watch. Use that e-brake, extend the drift. See? You can use the e-brake to extend the drift. Now these are all the basic concepts you're gonna need to know on a beginner setup. So, I hope you guys enjoy these and try them out yourself.